Hello.
Hey
Hi.
guys,
Welcome to the Marvel Aftershow. Are we still trying to find a name for the podcast? No, it's the Marvel Aftershow.
the
That's
Marvel Aftershow.
that's the name.
Yep.
Can you hear us fine? Do we sound good? Are the vocals clear? That's the real question. You need a better name though. Okay, what's wrong with the name, Deed? What is wrong with the name? Tiny, welcome in. How are you going today? Charlie, welcome in. How are you? Crispier than a friggin' chicken nugget. I'm glad to hear it because these microphones were not cheap. Uh, Work sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. I am very sorry to hear that. Everything. You can't just say one. Thanks for the hydrate. Just gonna crack open one of these. Hydrate and a stretch. Let's go. All right.
Cheers,
Does the
everyone.
screen look good as well? We've got 3 cameras. We've got, this one. We've got me and we got the wide one. Loki, thanks for the lurk, Tiny. Thank you for the lurk.
Thank you,
Hopefully-
appreciate it.
Hopefully it looks good. Oh, Deed, you won't be able to song request on this stream because I know you want to play copyright-free music. But I will refund you after stream. Anyway, let's get into it. So, the Marvel Aftershow. Here we go. You really hate Nightbot. True. The Marvel Aftershow episode 1. It's written right here. Introducing our podcast.
Yeah,
So,
I guess.
we'll start up. I'm obviously, you know who I am. I'm Joshi. But this is Mitch. This is Mitch with 2 L's in case
Hello,
you haven't seen him before.
Yep.
Yes, and we are a little bit of little kind of nerds, and so we were like, okay, we're going to start a podcast. We're going to just talk about what we're passionate about. We're going to talk about Marvel. We're going to talk about movies, TV shows, games, like any pop culture thing that might be interesting. Also, hey Heisen, welcome in. Lovely angle changes. Thank you. Yeah. So I mean, why did we want to do this?
Well, first of all, hello everyone. Pleasure to be here. Hi Joshi. Well, I guess we talk about movies and TV shows and video games and all that stuff all the time. So we just thought, well, why not, make it into something and share it with everyone. And that way we can go to the movies, see a movie, or watch TV shows, and then we can immediately discuss our thoughts with all of you guys, as we usually would just with ourselves. So yeah, it's just a passion of ours, and may as well, record that, put that on record.
Also, hey Katie, welcome to the stream. Okay, so I guess first up, I just want to give you a lay of the land. We've got what is a PP? True. We've got the desk here, camera there, camera there, camera there. We've got Danzig behind the computer. We've got 2 screens set up. He's doing all his switching and stuff. I don't know if you can hear him laughing, but it's a whole setup. We spent the whole day setting this up. So I hope it works. If it doesn't work, tell us. We'll fix it. Yes. So I think we're going to start with talking about Moonlight.
Yeah. So I guess just a quick rundown of what we'll be talking about this episode. We're going to be reviewing the first episode of Moonlight, which for Australian viewers that aired for us last night.
Yeah. 7 p.m. I believe, although it's going to 6 p.m. next week because daylight savings is changing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometime in the middle of the podcast, we're going to be playing a little game with you guys, with all the viewers.
Yeah, we've got a trivia question.
Yeah.
And if the first one to answer it correctly will get VIP for the stream, and I will have to take it away from you in the next podcast stream. But you will have it until the next podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll probably make that a running theme. Always have a little game in the middle, and then probably after that we'll be talking more about the Disney Plus Marvel TV shows. I guess our general thoughts on them and some things we think are some issues with them.
Because as good as they are, there is always room for improvement, and unfortunately, there's a lot of room for improvement with the Disney Plus shows. AO game, true. If you get it, do you get mod? If you get it, you can have mod for the week until the next podcast. Cool.
All right.
So, Moonlight episode 1.
Initial
Okay.
thoughts.
Initial thoughts. Okay, I really liked it.
Yep.
I thought that it was something very different to the other Disney Plus shows that we've seen before. It felt okay. I know it feels different to every other Disney Plus show, but I like the mystery it has that feels like WandaVision, because WandaVision for me was one of the hype around WandaVision every week was just something else.
Yeah.
Right? Like you'd tune in after the episode, you'd be like furiously like you're like, oh, like what's happening? Like you'd be looking things up, you'd be looking up the breakdowns, you'd be like calling people, you'd be like messaging people, you'd be like, what the fuck just happened in that show?
Yeah.
Like that was what I really liked about it. I think Moon Knight has the ability to like do that.
Yeah. Because it wasn't that hype around WandaVision wasn't really replicated with the other shows that we've had so far.
Yeah.
Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, Hawkeye. I felt WandaVision, and I guess it helped that WandaVision was the first Disney Plus Marvel show.
Yeah.
Because then it built like a lot of hype, and then people were constantly making theories and speculations. But
Yeah.
I feel like that was its thing. But maybe
Yeah.
Moon Knight has the potential to do the same.
Yeah. Also, Deed, spoiler warning, not huge spoilers in this episode because so what we're going to do is we're generally going to do like a spoiler review of the week before on the podcast. However, this episode, most of what we're going to talk about has been shown in the trailers. So from next week, we'll do like a more in-depth spoilery review with some breakdowns and stuff. Whereas like from in the weeks going ahead, it'll be kind of spoiler free for the day after. And then the week after, it'll be like,
We
so
assume
you
most
might,
people to see.
yeah. So you might notice some things. You'll be like, "Oh, that's a spoiler," but it was in the trailer. So
I feel like there
wasn't a huge amount aired in this episode that wasn't in the trailer.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
mostly that. See, they got everything playing. Sheesh. Yes. So.
Well, I guess I'll give my thoughts as well. I also really liked it. I also thought it somehow felt different to the other ones. I guess like just in the way it was made. And it was a lot, judging by what we'd seen from the trailers and stuff, this first episode at least was a lot more lighthearted than I was expecting at times. Like there was a lot of action, which is good. They crammed a lot of action into it.
Yeah.
But it felt like a bit more lively and more upbeat and lighthearted. But then there were also darker darker points of the first episode, and I think those lighter moments and those upbeat action scenes just were contrasted well to those darker.
And I quite liked how it did feel a little bit more gritty and a little bit more dark and a little bit more mature than the other Disney Plus shows felt. Because the other Disney Plus shows, a lot of them have been like, oh, like, like fine. And like Hawkeye was like, yeah, we're a buddy and we got a dog and we're like going on adventures and that's fun and it has its time and place. But I liked how Moon Knight was something different.
Yeah.
Also, oh, hey, Bar. You love the setup? Thank you. You're calm now? Sure. Take some deep breaths. True. And I mean, the episode also felt long, but it didn't feel like it dragged.
No,
a lot of like episodes with the Disney Plus shows, I know, especially for me, Hawkeye. A lot of the episodes in Hawkeye just felt like they were walking around New York City without any purpose.
Yeah.
And I know this is something we're going to touch on later, but I really liked how it felt long, but a lot happened, and it left me wanting more rather than just like being like, well, what the fuck is happening in this episode? Like that episode felt useless to me.
Yeah. But it's still with enough mystery to question, at points like, oh, what is happening? But like in a way that you want to find out more.
Exactly.
Yeah, it definitely didn't rip you off with the amount of content that was in that first episode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Love the professionalism. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. And I also thought like some things that I really liked about it was like one, like the Egyptian themes. It felt very supernatural.
Yeah.
And that's something that hasn't really come into the MCU before. I know like
We got a bit of it last year with Shang-Chi and
Yeah.
Eternals. There were a few kind
yeah,
of
but they also they just kind of felt like gods to me.
yeah.
It wasn't like this feels more like Percy Jackson level of like intertwined into mythology and
Yeah.
like, you know, supernaturalism, and not just like aliens from outer space, but this is like deeply rooted into like human history.
Yeah,
which I
that's
think
true.
is really cool.
Yeah.
The lighting's perfect, the angles, the microphones, everything's perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah, which I really liked.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see how through the rest of the show or like, you know, how these Egyptian themes and possibly Egyptian gods are going to be like roaming amongst just the human population, and how
Yeah.
and like and that, I think that'll just be really interesting to see.
Yeah. I mean, I know in the episode, and we'll like pull up some stills later, but in the episode you see like an ancient Egyptian like mummy god, and I thought that was like really interesting, and I thought it looked really, really cool. And I'm like very excited to see how that ties in with like the Moonlight character. I haven't read the comics. I don't know anything about this going into it apart from what I've seen from the trailers and what I've seen from the breakdowns, and so I'm very excited to see how it all goes together. We can see the podcast on the iPad in front of me. Yeah, I know, right? Little Easter eggs. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the potential of how they utilize all the Egyptian themes and stuff like that. It's something we haven't really seen in the MCU before.
Yeah.
And I really like that vibe.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
like
Percy Jackson was my favorite series growing up, right? Like, it started with Percy Jackson, which was like the Greek one, right? And he was like a demigod, and he was like going out and like, you know, he was linked to Zeus and like all the Greek gods. And then I really liked how Rick Riordan, the writer, then took it further, and he did a series with the Roman gods, with the Egyptian gods, and like he just kept on going. He kept on going, and I thought that was so interesting, and I really loved them as a kid. So it feels like this has the same feel to me as that did, and I think that's why I love it so much, is because it's not just like airy fairy, like, oh, you know, we made up some like fake gods called the Eternals and they come from space. It's like, oh, it's actually based on like Egyptian mythology and stuff that has been around for thousands and thousands of years, like in human civilization. I think that's really interesting. What else? Oscar Isaac, brilliant.
Brilliant.
Absolutely
He's really good.
Brilliant. He's really, really good. I know he's in Star Wars, and like in Star Wars I was always like, really, like, does his character like need to exist?
But he's given a lot more to work with.
He's given a lot
more to
work
of
with.
course he's the main character, but
and I like, oh, thanks for the hydrates, dude. All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Yes. I also know that I heard that the British accent that he has, that Stephen Grant, has was Oscar Isaac's idea, which I think is really interesting, because without it, they were just gonna like have him be an American, and like that's just the same as every other Marvel show. So I'm glad that he brought something to the character himself and like did something interesting and did something different. Yo, Pumper, welcome in.
Because is he just American?
I think so.
Is he an American
I think he's
person?
an American person. I believe so. Hello.
No, but he's really good. You know, so far from what we saw from the acting, I mean, it was all pretty good. We only really saw like 3 major characters introduced though, like which I didn't have a problem with. I thought that was quite refreshing. Of course, Stephen Grant, who's played by Oscar Isaac. Ethan Hawke is the villain. I'm not sure what do you remember his name? I'm not sure what his name was.
I don't think
the character name.
Did they tell us his name?
I don't know.
I can't remember whether they told us his name or
not.
Maybe they're keeping it a surprise.
And then there was, you know, not totally sure, you know, how her character will be developed, but the museum lady, obviously the boss of Stephen Grant, running the museum.
Aaron, welcome in. and Pumper come out to streaming a lot, or hopefully if the podcast takes off.
But yeah, not like an overwhelming amount of characters introduced in that first episode, which I thought was good.
Yeah.
It really just focused mostly on Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke's characters, who we presume and hope that Ethan Hawke will be the villain for the majority of the show.
Also, welcome in. Thank you. Yes. I mean, what's really interesting to me is, I know we've spoken about this before, but them introducing the villain in the first scene of the show is something that has like not happened in any Disney Plus show. Most of the Disney Plus show. What are you doing, Danzig? Thanks for the lurk, dude.
Doing some weird things back there.
Yeah. So normally in the Disney Plus shows, what happens is they introduce the villain in either the last episode or the second last episode, and it doesn't. Again, we'll go into this in further detail later on, but it doesn't give the protagonists enough time and enough motive to continue out the show.
Yeah.
And a lot of the show ends up feeling like filler. And this is not just with like Marvel, this is also with like the Star Wars Disney Plus shows. And I haven't really seen any of the other ones, but I assume it's like that there as well. They're so professional. Thank you.
But this, Moon Knight, right from the get-go, very first scene, we see who we assume to be the main villain of the whole show. Hopefully. We're saying hopefully because the current trend of these Disney Plus shows is introducing another villain.
Yes.
In like the last couple episodes, within the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And then that just gets resolved like immediately. Yeah. So
before you go again, you love the bookshelf in the background. It looks good. Thank you. We've got Black Panther. We've got Captain America with Mjolnir, and we've got Baby Groot in the pot.
What was that? Oh, it's Carrington.
Oh, is it still
Back?
Okay, good. Hi, Abby. Welcome in. Hi, Abby.
Technical error there.
The color correction, the camera layout so clean. Thank you, Ro. Thank you. I don't know what camera's on right now, but second, that one. Oh, thank you, Ro. Yeah, and I know you've written down here like the first 2 scenes parallel each other between the villain and the hero. I think that's also is it going to be on YouTube? Yes, it will be on YouTube. That's a really interesting point. Like, if you wrote down, so you go for it. Like,
like kind of sort of semi-parallel, I think, from memory. You see, Ethan Hawke, the villain, in the first scene, and I guess minor spoilers here. We haven't seen the significance of this yet, but he was doing some sort of ritual. He broke broke some glass things. I forgot what were they specifically.
We can show.
Yeah.
Pull it up. Hero, is that alcohol? No. Watch this, guys. Ready for some fancy shit right now? Bam.
All right. So, is it right? It should be right away. Not sure what's happening here. So this is Ethan Hawke, who's playing the villain. He's just having some water.
Wait, is it not playing? Oh, it is playing.
It is, yeah.
Mouth to mouth face. Oh my god, Abby. Not on stream. He does this like really ritualistic bullshit. I don't know what it's about.
Smashes the glass and then.
Are we allowed to watch it on Twitch? Well, it has no audio, so I assume it's okay. We're not playing like the whole show.
And then it didn't really dawn on me what was happening right here. Like putting the glass in the shoes.
But like this is the opening.
Yeah, this is the very first
whole
thing.
show.
Yeah,
which I thought was like very interesting.
Yeah, and I think there's just like some mellow music playing in the background, kind of like like a traditional ritualistic kind of music, maybe Egyptian, that kind of thing.
Anyway,
and then
the fact that they opened with that instead of the trend has been, there's like a fake villain for like a lot of the show, and then in the second last episode, bam, big twist, they're not actually the villain, the real villain's introduced, and then nothing happens because it's the end of the show already. So I think that was very interesting.
Yeah.
I also, I really liked how it's more mature as well, Moon Knight. There was actually like a little bit of blood and a little bit of violence, which I thought was quite interesting. I'm very excited to see more of that. I'm hoping now that Daredevil, The Punisher, all the Marvel Netflix shows have been moved onto Disney Plus, and people can choose like how mature their content rating is on there.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that that allows them to add more mature content into these shows.
Yeah, because it was really cool and surprising when seeing a bit of blood in this episode when it appeared for the first time.
And it was genuinely creepy.
On his
like,
hands, yeah.
I was like, yo, if I was like 8 years old, like, you know how people would, like parents would let their kids watch these shows, right? These are like kids shows that are part of the kids universe. If a kid was watching that show, I would be like, what the fuck? Like, that would freak me the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like, that was crazy. So I'm really excited to see that.
And it's even like the little things, like I guess kind of minor spoilers again here, but like, you know, when he wakes up in the middle dream sequence, and this is Oscar Isaac, and like his character's got like a broken jaw, like, and then like it snaps back into place. Even that, like, that's kind of like a bit creepy, you know, a bit disturbing.
Yeah. You might bust over this quality. Bro, we got 3 cameras. They're running through a switcher. There's like a whole thing, bro. We got I bought a Mac. I bought a Mac to run this podcast. It's sitting right there. Why is it so clear? Josh is so hot. Thank you. But like, even though it was dark and creepy, it also felt humorous. Like, it had humor in the right places. And what I liked about the humor in Moonlight, the first episode at least, was that it wasn't like, you know how in Shang-Chi, the humor is like very blatant. It's very like, haha, now we're going on a buddy adventure and it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I like really didn't like that about, and that's what I've not liked about the MCU recently, is it's going more and more into this like blatant, like cringy humor almost. Whereas with this, it was very much like physical humor. It reminded me a lot more of like Mr. Bean, or I'm trying to think of who else is like really good physical physical comedy. But it was acting like with the actors' bodies, and it was letting them shine rather than like some overpaid writers around a table in a room going like, what do the kids find funny these days?
Exactly.
Which is what I really liked about it.
Yeah,
I think
the comedy was like really, really well used. Throughout this first episode, like there was the exact right amount of it. It was all like, you know, genuinely funny. Like, it got a chuckle out of me at times. Like a few of the like just the little dialogue jokes, but they were subtle, and they got over with quickly, and then they moved on. You know, it was like just the perfect amount. Yeah.
You think Marvel is not hip with the kids? Yeah. Well, I think Marvel started like phase 1, phase 2. I think were really like I think the tone in those phases were perfect. Between like the first Avengers movie, the first Iron Man movie, even like Iron Man 3, I think those movies were so perfect. They hit the head on the nail on the head with the tone. And I think that's what they lost in phases 3 and beginning of 4, but they're bringing it back now. And I hope that trend continues as opposed to just being like a buddy haha movie, because I think that's what people want, and I don't think people want that like haha like whatever unless you're like 8 years old. We need a sticker over the Apple logo unless they want to sponsor you. True, just cover that up. we should print out our logo and stick it on there. Good idea.
A Marvel Aftershow computer.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll start our own computer company. Your keyboard is cleaned. Welcome back. Yo, Mitch with 1L. How's it going? PogChamp, true. How are you, should say? Yeah. So it was fun. It was lighthearted. And yeah.
I wonder what the kids like think of Marvel these days, because like so many like new like characters have been introduced, and comic book characters. Like, it's not just the traditional Avengers where like when I was a kid, like I'd heard of all of them. Like obviously it was Hulk and Iron Man and Captain America, and now there's all these like new characters, and it'd be interesting. I wonder what kids think of.
Yeah, true.
Like, yeah.
are those strongbows. Ooh, lads. Yeah. Mitch, they changed the fucking packaging. Look at that. It's a new bottle. I don't know what the fuck this is, bro. I was happy with the previous packaging, and they added it. They made it like $5 more expensive at Dan's. I'm like, it used to be $13 and I paid 18. Very sad. Not a fan. You know, you're almost confused. The podcast seems very intimate. Oh yeah, Mitchell and I, we're sitting, we're sitting right across from each other. Where's the pretty tree on the bottle? Exactly. Yeah, I mean, and yeah, I think what you've written down here is right. It did make the darker, creepier parts contrast better.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't even like the comedy. It was there. It was very fun. It was, you know, it was a joy to watch. But then as soon as it got creepy again, you're like, okay, there is a serious shift in tone.
Yeah. And they didn't dawdle to shift. It just like gets the joke, like it gets like a little joke out of the way that's subtle and that's actually funny.
And then bam,
they just get
straight back into the creepiness. Yeah. Mitch with 1L, custom command. Hey yo, what command would you like, good sir? What command would you like? Exclamation point, Mitch, the biggest wee wee. Okay, I will add that. Wait, Rue, can you do that for me, please? Oh, thank you. 1L, because you are not 2Ls. True, you are not 2Ls, you are 1L. Thank you, Aaron. It's command. You need to like write command out, I think. Stream elements, but it's Nightbot. It's not stream elements. No, it's adcom. It's exclamation point adcom. Sorry. Adcom, not command ad. It's adcom. Yes, thank you, Mitch.
If there was one joke that didn't really stick with me because it was one that like lingered on for a while, and it's kind of like just like a bit of a trope at this point in like any superhero movie, especially one that's introducing a new character and like they're trying to like find out who they are or like get control, or they don't have control of themselves, and like then that's like portrayed like in like a little slapstick moment.
Yeah.
And in this one it was like Oscar Isaac had like this like golden scarab in his hand or something, obviously of significance, and then and he was willingly trying to like hand it over to Ethan Hawke, but then obviously Moonlight within him was like preventing him, so like he was like moving his hand around and like, oh, I'm not trying to do this. Yeah, like that joke was a bit stale for me because like I feel like I've just seen that so many times now in like so many movies.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to bring it up? We'll show. We'll
show
what we're talking about. The professional is here. True. I don't know where it is in the episode. Nightbot hates me. Nightbot hates everyone, Aaron. Nightbot's just a little bitch, honestly. Dude, you are so behind on Marvel. You're like Avengers level 9. Yeah, well, Mitch, when you come to Sydney, we were going to have a Marvel education. What? I said the start. Okay. We're going to have a Marvel education, Mitch. I was talking to Bella. She was like, when Mitch comes to Sydney in like 2 weeks or whatever, we're going to fucking sit down and we're going to watch that shit like front to end. Be there or be square. Yeah, anyway, you can see it like here.
Yeah.
Here you go. Like he like tries to do it, and then he's like fist closes.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, what the fuck's happening? Why's my fist closed?"
And he's like, "Oh, I'm not. I'm
trying
to open his hands."
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Like, and then like, there's a part where he like moves his hand, like the hand like takes control, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not doing that."
Yeah.
Like, look, that's such like a little minor thing. Like, I'm not gonna fault the whole episode for that. Like, I feel like I've seen that in so many, like, superhero kind of forms of media.
True.
Yeah.
Josh, surely before the next podcast, we do a watch party of the show. True, we could do a watch party of the show.
Ooh.
The only thing that I thought wasn't great about the show was the CGI in the middle, because I think the CGI in the middle, like the rest of the show was flawless. Right, the cinematography was really good. The interesting like different what's the name? Personalities. His different personalities were portrayed really well. But the CGI in the middle of the show is fucking horrendous, and I don't understand why. It looks so bad. Like when Mitch and I were watching it, we were like, oh, you remember as kids we used to have action movie effects like on our phones, and we would like hold them up, and then like a missile would go and, like,
From
just
the
blow
sky,
up from
yeah.
the sky. It's literally like the
It's what
CGI
it
in the
looked
middle of the
like.
show.
Yeah.
You got yourself a Nescafe latte. Nice, Aaron. And thank you for being here, dude. I appreciate it. Have a good rest of your night. Well, is that it there?
Yeah, I think this is part of it. Yeah, it's like the middle action sequence.
Yeah. Yeah, if I pull this up here. We can't play the audio. A, because I don't know how to set that up, and B, because that would get us in trouble. You always get first, true. Okay, so like this is all okay. Like,
Yeah,
if it
the
was
cars
just
in
like
the
this-
background like seem a bit off.
yeah, but if it was just like this, like I
Yeah.
wouldn't fault it.
Yeah.
Like this is fine. This is fine. Very interesting. Very interesting. Fine. This car looks so CGI, like the Volvo here. Whatever the fuck that car is.
Wait,
Just
this
looks like
is
off.
all right. This is
This
fine.
is fine.
car.
The close shots are okay. Thanks for the lurk, Aaron. I appreciate it. Like this is
Right.
all really interesting. This is all really cool. I really like those effects where he
Yeah.
like disassociates for a second and it cuts away. That just looks awful. And even here,
Yeah,
like,
even-
it just looks shocking. It looks shocking.
I think we're getting to a good part.
Yeah.
It's coming to a climax.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at that cupcake. Is that not the most CGI cupcake you've ever seen in your entire life?
And then
And
look
look
at
at
this
that
car.
car. Oh my god, why could they not just
Yeah.
use a real car? What is wrong with like using just
And
a
then look at
real
this-
car? Look at that. Look at that. What the fuck? What the actual fuck was that? I like don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand how like a multi-million-dollar studio like does something like that, and they're like, "Yep, cool, good,
Yeah.
done."
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's pretty shocking.
probably pretty shocking. Probably like time restraints, or like they were on a deadline, whatever.
Yeah.
They had to get it out. Like that's fine, but Jesus Christ,
Mm.
like please.
Yeah.
Um,
Another part with that. Oh, it's not just in that scene. It's kind of throughout.
Yeah.
Is like we got a few voiceovers of like inside Stephen Grant's head, and it's obviously Moonlight. And like I don't remember the specific things he says, but like he's just like he hears voices in his head. I got a bit of PTSD from Venom from that.
oh
like
yeah.
you know, like I think I'll get used to it if they include more of that throughout the show.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be as bad as Venom, but
Yeah.
like, it was a bit unsettling
Yeah.
at first. I was like, oh god, I hope this isn't like, you know,
I
it's
mean,
not going to be like
how
Venom.
could you forget the iconic rolling down the street like a
Turd in the wind,
line,
yeah.
where he's like, "I'm gonna cut your head off, and I'm gonna kick it rolling down the street like a turd in the wind." Like, what the? Who the
Yeah.
fuck wrote that? Like, fucking come up with something better, please.
Oh,
Please.
too good. Venom, what a
Venom.
movie.
Oh, and we gotta do like a live react. to
Yeah,
that movie
yeah.
in some episode. That is
Oh,
absolutely awesome.
We'll have lots to say about that at some point.
Yeah. And of course, it's been shown in the trailers, but the reveal of Moon Knight finally suiting up as Moon Knight at the end of the show, at the end of the episode, was
Yeah.
really good. And it's
Yeah.
the same shot as the trailers. As soon as I saw the bathroom, that the
Yeah,
scene was in,
yeah.
I was like, oh,
You
it's
knew it
coming.
was happening, but
it's coming.
it was so cool.
It was good.
Yeah.
The CGI was really good. I really like the art design of like
Yeah.
how the bandages like wrap around him and he becomes like a mummy. I think that's really interesting. Looked really good. Can't fault that.
Yeah, yeah, and
So I think-
when he's just beating the crap out of that,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
out of
yeah,
that
yeah.
creature, and
Yeah.
it's really cool. Like obviously, you know, it's coming, it's obvious, it's
Yeah.
the end of the episode, but yeah, I just really like how he looks. I think he
Yeah.
there's a lot of potential for him to be like the coolest bodybuilder.
I think
in
so,
the whole thing.
especially like Mr. Knight with like the
Hero,
white
man.
suit,
Yeah, yeah,
like the alter ego when he's like wearing the white suit, he's all like posh. I think that's gonna look so cool. I think that's gonna look so cool. Yeah. Anyway, I think it was good for a first
Yep.
episode. I think
Really
it
good.
was very impressive. I think it was very well done. Cinematography was really good. Music was good. Acting fantastic.
yeah,
Yeah, good tone, good comedy. I think they got the mix of it nailed down pretty well.
yeah,
Expectations for the rest of the show. I hope it doesn't fall flat on its face.
yeah,
I think in WandaVision it really like it went like, yeah, like mystery, and we went and like fell flat on its face. I hope it doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Because if it does, I will be sorely disappointed.
This better be the best show I've ever seen. I swear.
Yeah.
I have a lot of well, I tried not to have too much high expectations because of, I haven't been that impressed at, some of the recent Marvel Disney Plus shows, but
I mean, when I saw the
think
trailer
this
for
could be
this, when I saw the trailer for Moonlight,
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, I really want to be excited for this.
Yeah.
Like, I actively want to be really excited for this show, but knowing Disney Plus's track record,
Yeah.
I wasn't super keen. I
Yeah.
was like, I gotta contain my excitement.
Yeah.
I gotta like manage my expectations, and I can't just be like, oh, this is gonna be fantastic.
Yeah.
Because I've had that thought with Hawkeye. I
Yeah.
knew as soon as I knew that Fisk was appearing in Hawkeye, I was like, oh, it's gonna be so good. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna get Daredevil, and I had that thought with Loki, and Loki was decent, but it wasn't like the best thing I've ever
Yeah.
seen, and it was all just kind of meh.
Yeah. I'm still gonna control my expectations for a few more episodes, maybe.
Yeah.
But if it sticks to the quality of that first episode, I reckon
Yeah.
it can be a really good show overall.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm assuming it's just 6 episodes, like
I think
most of them
so.
have been.
I think so, probably. I think WandaVision was 8 originally.
WandaVision was 9.
Yeah, WandaVision was 9.
I'm not sure what. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
not sure whether they'll ever like have another show that's 9 or not, or
Yeah.
whether they're just doing 6 from now on. Yeah. But,
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we look at some online reviews, see what people
Yeah.
are saying?
Yeah.
about it?
Yeah.
Do you want to pull my
Wait, do
phone
it.
out?
Yeah. Do you want to do it here?
Because I'm interested to know like whether our consensus is also like the general consensus.
Yeah.
Also, having the Stream Deck here is just like the best thing ever. This is literally like a genius device. I'm like, oh, best purchase. Oh, Moonlight first review is okay. A dark, bloody Oscar Isaac acting showcase. Okay, fair enough. Critics have a look. Oh, I'll just continue without disabling at the bottom.
Oh yeah. Of course, it's like blacked out. You
Yeah.
can't see it.
Beloved as Poe Dameron. Was he beloved as Poe Dameron in Disney's Star Wars films? Was he? And I didn't think he was.
Wait. He appeared as
He was.
villain Apocalypse.
Yeah,
in
he was.
X-Men.
He was Apocalypse.
Really?
He was like the blue guy.
Oh.
Which is like really interesting because that movie was fucking garbage. And he was Spider-Man 2099 Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh,
and
really?
he's going
Yeah.
to reprise that role in the sequel coming out this year.
Oh yeah.
So he's played 3 Marvel roles and 1 Star Wars role, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
It's the scariest MCU project to date.
and a
The
closest
closest
franchise.
it's come to outright.
Guess so.
So.
That also interests me because Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is supposed to be horror, right? That's why they That's why they got Sam Raimi to direct.
Yeah.
That's why, like, it's supposed to be not just like creepy, but it's supposed to be that actual horror vibe. So I'm interested to see if Moon Knight can do it. Then how will Multiverse of Madness do it?
Yeah,
so that's an interesting topic. I think we should like follow up later after Multiverse of Madness comes out in like a month or whatever it is. I think that'll be a very interesting thing to see. At the end of the day, is having a strong lead like Isaac enough to keep a series going? Previous Marvel shows have had 2 characters playing off another, but perhaps having a 2-sided of Mark and Steven is off. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I guess in the other MCU, especially Phase 4 things, they've had like Shang-Chi and Aquafina like playing off each other, or like, you know, they've had like these like that's always been like the comedic duo or the comedic.
Yeah, and
thing.
even with the Marvel shows, we've gotten like Loki with Sylvie, obviously Hawkeye and Kate Bishop, Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's an obvious one.
WandaVision.
Wanda. Yeah, so it's all been kind of a duo.
Duos, yeah.
But to be fair, like this is a new character, which is obviously really refreshing to see. A new character we've never seen before. All the other Disney Plus Marvel shows have been about characters we've already been introduced to.
Yeah.
This is a new character, so maybe he doesn't need that, because all those other characters you kind of got to agree are like more minor characters, which
Yeah.
is why they got TV shows rather like than their own movies, for
Yeah, yeah.
example. But yeah, maybe Oscar Isaac is and the
Yeah.
character of Moon Knight, especially with his multiple personalities, is enough.
Yeah.
Like for him just to be, which I think would be really refreshing and really good. I'd be fine with
Yeah.
just him rather than either a duo or even more than that, like even more like characters, like a band of heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'd be quite interesting.
Mm.
Aside from the Netflix series, it's Marvel's darkest MCU show today. Yep, fair enough. Moon Knight might be darker and different, but it's still wholly captivating in a way Marvel has managed to achieve more often than not. That's true. Yeah. Ooh, Oscar Isaac can't salvage middle tier MCU entry. That's
yeah.
I'm controversial opinion there.
I mean, it's only been one episode.
Yeah, why is Nate Adams from The Only Critic? Well, I guess he's the only critic who's against it.
Yeah.
Everyone else seems to like it. Moon Knight's MCU departure most topping tone. I think I agree with most of this.
Yeah.
Marvel Studios continues to be a bit more daring on the small screen, as it has been with the terrific WandaVision and the uneven but interesting Loki. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And I think what I find really interesting to me is like that psychological horror aspect to it. Like, I don't like a lot of just normal horror movies. I think they're boring and they rely on like jump scares to like try and like scare the audience or like shock people. But like, I'm really excited to see some more like psychological horror things. I think to me one of like the scariest shows or scariest like things in media that I've seen is like Black Mirror, right?
Right.
Because it's, I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't seen that. No, yeah.
It's usually like it's like dystopian future technology like taking over the world and like taking over people's lives, and you watch the show and you're like, oh, like that's like kind of scary, like that's creepy, I hope that never happens. And you're like, but then you like pull out your phone and you like go on social media and you're like, oh wait, that's happening already. You know, like that's already like what is happening in today's society, and that's what's scary to me. And I hope that the Moon Knight can kind of capitalize on that sort of things. Interesting things here. Okay. Well, yeah. Do you think it'll be hyped up as much as the WandaVision?
I'm gonna say no. I don't know. I feel like WandaVision will never be matched. Like I'm not talking about in terms of my opinion on it, but in terms of just all the fans just like creating tons of theories, predictions, speculations. I don't know. I think it helps that it was the first Disney Plus show, Marvel show. But yeah, I don't know what it was. Yeah. Anyway, I think this will have a good amount of people around it with theories and stuff like that. But
I'm interested to see what New York Stars says about it. Because of course Eric Voss from New York Stars, man, he's gonna have quite a lot to say. But I know one of the selling points, especially to Oscar Isaac about his show, was that it's not intertwined with the MCU.
Okay.
Like it doesn't have any references to the beginning of the MCU. So I'm interested to see whether when New York starts like does their weekly breakdown of the show, whether it'll actually have anything to break down. I wonder will there even be any connections to talk about in Moonlight?
I mean,
or is it just going to be a brand new like fresh show that no one has ever heard of before?
I couldn't really, from memory, I can't think of anything that was so obviously. Well, there was nothing connected to what we've seen so far in the MCU. I mean, like there'll probably just be a lot of connections to like the comic books and stuff like that. But, so far I don't think much. But Eric Voss sees stuff we don't. So
or will there be an episode? Well, there'll be episodes every week, dude. But they said, like, what the directors have said is that it's not going to be tied into anything that came before it, which is interesting because everything else kind of has been. Like, I can't think of another like Marvel property that hasn't been tied into something previously. Even like Guardians of the Galaxy, which was like, kind of fresh and new and interesting, it's still tied into the Infinity Stones. It's still tied into like but some shows don't do well and they don't make anymore. True. Well, I think not all the Disney Plus shows are going to have second seasons, I think is the main thing. I know they record all the shows at once, like the seasons at once. So there'll definitely be more episodes, but whether there'll be second seasons is what remains to be seen. And I wonder, like, I know it doesn't tie into previous things from the MCU, but what about like going forward? What is Moon Knight going to tie into?
Yeah.
Like, what is Moon Knight going to be part of the Avengers, or like is he going to be part of like Wong's team to, you know, or like, and like, are they going to address that in the show? Because that kind of counts as like as though it's tying into the previous MCU. But yeah, I don't know whether it'll just be that, or whether like in the next property, like MCU property, like Blade or whatever, they'll be like, oh, and Moon Knight's here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there will be theories. I think there will be speculations. I don't think it'll be as hyped as WandaVision.
No. Yeah. I don't think so either.
Yeah. Will I be streaming Minecraft anymore? Pumper, ever since speedrunning Minecraft, I don't know if I can be fucked to play Minecraft normally anymore. I'm gonna be honest with you. Playing Minecraft normally is really boring.
How long did it take you?
What, to speedrun?
Yeah.
My PB is like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It's kind of shit, but like, like considering world record is like 9 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it could be worse.
At least try it.
Yeah, better than most people. Better than most people. Yeah. I want another drink. Do you want another drink?
Yeah.
I was gonna say we cracked that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finish your second one. What the fuck?
Oh, come on. Hand him over.
Oh yeah. Apple juice.
Do you think the recipe's changed on this?
I don't know. Hold on, I've got to take a sip, like with that in mind.
Okay.
How tall are we? I'm like 172 centimeters or something. Well, yeah.
I have no idea how tall
know.
I am.
I haven't measured
Taller
myself.
than him though,
Mm.
but not tall.
It doesn't taste any different,
Yeah.
but it's got less alcohol.
No, because I'm just wondering if it. Nah, maybe not. I'm wondering if it's slightly more like sweeter and fruitier, ever so slightly.
Yeah.
Like not as more mature and like and hard. You know, maybe.
I feel like we need to have one of the old.
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
Okay. Vex, welcome in. How are you? I don't know what camera I'm on, but Vex, welcome in. You're taller than me. Hey yo, Pumper. Hey yo. You wanna go, bro? You wanna go? Game segment. I don't know who's here.
Should we do it?
Yeah, should we do it? Who is in chat? If you're in chat, say I, because you have a chance to win like VIP for a week. So I know Vex, you already have VIP, but if you're VIP already, you can be mod for a week. But you know for how long? Okay, well we have one trivia question to ask. So
yeah, get game time. We need to think of a name of this for this segment. We'll do that for next week, I reckon. Yeah, like a proper name. Yeah, for
like
this
a little
segment.
jingle.
Yeah. A little sting.
Josh and Mitch's Marvel Game Time. I don't know who's in here, but the question of the week is who says this? Like which character says this?
It's a quote from
It's a quote.
from an MCU movie.
And in which movie? So what's the character and in which movie is it said? Vex, yes, you can have a mod for a week if you guess this right. First person to get it wins.
All right.
The quote is, "Clearly, you've never made an omelet."
Clearly, you've never made an omelet.
Danzig, you can't participate.
Who said it and from what movie?
Yeah. Buck lag, true.
I bet the comments are streaming in right now.
Yeah.
Rolling.
The title looks really good. I really like it. I think it looks sick. I'm happy with that. Also, should we put this on Spotify?
We could.
I feel like we should just like download the audio file and just go and like put it on Spotify.
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Huh? Okay, we can do that after this.
Reach
Guys,
new people.
on Spotify after this live stream. Tune in. It looks so good, you love it. Khan, Welcome in, Con. How are you? By the way, if you want mod for a week, answer this question. Who says the quote, "Clearly, you've never made an omelette," and in which movie? OMG angle, true.
Who said it and from what movie?
We got 3 angles.
Clearly, you've never made an omelette.
Tony Stark, close. Very close.
I
Not
can see him saying that.
I
Yeah.
mean, it makes sense. when you
Yeah,
know who
yeah,
the
yeah.
character
It's a
is.
good guess. Good guess.
Okay, let me say it in an accent. Clearly, you've never made an omelet.
So accurate, that voice.
Age of Ultron and Ultron? Yeah.
Yes.
It was.
Who said that?
It was. Well done, Pumper. I don't know if you looked that up or not,
Pumper.
but you get VIP for a week. There you go.
No. Yeah.
Enjoy.
No cheating. No cheating.
Enjoy your VIP.
Yeah. Well done though. Well
Yeah,
done.
Yeah.
Clearly, you've never made an omelette.
You
Said by
watched
Ultron.
the movie yesterday. Really? I watched it
Oh.
on Sunday night. I watched it with Boa. Boa and I watched Age of Ultron, and I was like, I'm gonna write down some things to talk about.
Ultron said some whack shit in that movie. Man.
Literally, what are his everyone creates things that they're afraid of. Invaders create Avengers, and attackers create defenders, and people create smaller people. Like, what the fuck is
Smaller
that line?
people.
Fuck, you remember that now? Yeah, literally. Smaller people.
Ultron's the best character for out of context quotes. Like,
Literally.
yeah.
Also, Con, how are you? What has been happening in your morning? I know it's early for you. How are you? You've never watched an MCU movie? Vex,
What?
what are you doing? What are you doing, Vex?
What are you doing on this podcast? On this stream? Like, no, of course. We want to hear.
Appreciate
Yeah,
you.
appreciate it.
But you should watch them. I don't know what camera I'm on, but you should watch them. Watch them. I forgot who said it for a second, and then someone said Sark. You remembered because you thought it was up. Yeah, well, I guess it makes sense because Ultron is technically like his kid. Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
Aww. Damn. Tony Stark's sperm must be just made out of something else.
I bet you'd like to find out.
Oh yeah. Anyway, next section.
Yeah.
Moving on. Yeah, so I know we touched on this before, but the major problems with the Disney Plus TV shows. And this isn't just Marvel, this is also like Star Wars. I think this applies to The Mandalorian as well. I've never watched the Book of Boba Fett, but I assume it would apply there as well. Danzig's a fan.
I think it applies to both. Both.
Yeah.
Of it, yeah. Like, it's just kind of, it's a trend that's happening.
Yeah. Do you want to take it away?
Yeah, sure, yeah. Well, look, there are probably, like, there are going to be several problems throughout, and, maybe even some that also trend within all of them. They continue throughout, but we found at least one, definitive major problem with all of these Disney Plus TV shows is the main villains, aspects of the main villains.
Yeah.
And we touched on some of this before, but it's just that so many of them are introduced so late in the show, within the last couple of episodes. And what this does is it messes with the pacing of the whole rest of the show, because the heroes, they don't have anything to work towards. They don't have any motivations, and we'll get into examples, but one is obviously Hawkeye, where they're just walking, like, it feels like for periods of time they're just walking around the city with like nothing to do.
Yeah.
And that just happens so often, and with this as well is that you get a lack of screen time and development for the villain. You want the villain to be a main part of the show. That's what they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And with such lack of screen time, they don't get any development or utilization.
And I think, like, especially because the Marvel Netflix shows set such a high bar for villains for me. Like, but if they didn't exist, I'd probably watch the Disney Plus shows and I'd be like, oh, this is fine. Like, this is, no issues here. But especially with Hawkeye, right? Because it's the same villain as Daredevil. In
Yeah.
Daredevil, when Fisk is introduced in like episode 3, and even before then, they're like talking about him like all mysteriously, like he's like his name is like mentioned, and everyone's scared of him, and
Yeah.
he has this like presence over New York City that he just doesn't have in Hawkeye. And I don't know why they didn't bring that into Hawkeye. It's
Yeah.
obviously that's something that was very popular with the fans. It's obviously one of the main reasons why Daredevil was so popular. But yeah, considering like they introduced him in the last second of the second last
Yeah.
episode of Hawkeye, what the fuck are they supposed to do to fight him?
Yeah.
And it's not like Loki is Loki is different because A, it has a confirmed season 2, and B, we know Kang is going to show up in Ant-Man
yeah.
3, which is confirmed. So that's fine. Like, I guess they kind of let the villain, you know, they gave him a little bit of backstory, like
Yeah.
enough so that when he shows up next, you're like, oh, that guy, you know. But I feel like, especially in Hawkeye,
Pretty bad in
it's
Hawkeye, yeah.
pretty bad
Yeah.
because
And because like if you're a diehard Marvel fan, you know Fisk and he's played by the same actor
Yeah.
in this. And he's just, you know, how in the Netflix shows how much of a menace he is and how much of a threat, and then
Yeah.
he's just introduced like basically in the last episode or
Yeah.
right before the last episode, and then his whole that whole storyline is just resolved, and I don't know whether he dies or not. Like I
Yeah.
don't know what that is supposed
yeah,
to be
and
about.
in the comics he like gets shot in the head and he survives.
Okay, yeah,
But,
okay.
but like for people who haven't read the comics, for fans of Daredevil who might not have seen the rest of the MCU, but they're coming over from Daredevil, they heard that Fisk is going to be in Hawkeye in this new show. They're like, cool, let's check it out. And then they have to sit through like 7 or 8 hours of them walking around the city and like rambling on and doing random bullshit before they even get to Fisk. It's just like really disappointing.
Yeah,
And-
and then Fisk
Yeah.
gets his ass kicked by Kate Bishop in the final episode.
Yeah.
Like, are you serious?
Yeah. Peepo true. Is that Pepe reading? Is that the emote of Pepe reading? Am I doing it? I don't get emotes on my iPad. Yeah, and I think like as well as the lack of screen time and development for the villains, and
How late they're introduced.
how late they're
Yeah.
introduced, I think also having the multiple like fake out villains
Yeah.
makes it just
That is such a trend with these shows.
yeah, it's such a cop out. It's really like they introduce like the villain in the second episode or whatever, and you're like, oh, cool. Now the hero has something to work towards. And then in the third or fourth episode,
Yeah.
they're fake,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, what the fuck did the hero like accomplish in the last 4 episodes?
Yeah.
Nothing, absolutely nothing. Like,
And then they introduce a new villain, maybe
Yeah.
for a few episodes,
Yeah.
and then maybe they're still a villain towards the end, but by the end they don't have the same significance as another villain that's suddenly introduced
Yeah.
right at the end.
Yeah.
And then they're also a villain.
Yeah.
So it's hard to distinguish who is the main villain of some
Yes.
of these shows, of
Yeah.
most of these shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why we're hoping with Moon Knight we already know who this villain is.
yeah. Well, it's even like in The Mandalorian, right? Like, you watch The Mandalorian, and the first episode. Danzig, shut the fuck up. You watch the first episode, and you're like, "Oh, this is cool. Like, whatever, cool. Like, CGI is good, cinematography is good, etc., etc." And then you watch the show, and you sit down. And you're like, "This is supposed to be the best, like the best Star Wars thing introduced since A New Hope, or whatever whatever the fans say." And then you watch it, and for about 5 episodes, they do fuck all, and they're just like roaming through the galaxy, like doing little side missions and like, you know, helping out random people. And it feels like a video game where like the main story has a break, and you know how like the game is like, here's a few things you can like check out while you're waiting for the main story. It literally just feels like that to me. And I hate that because in the Disney Plus shows there is in the Netflix shows there is so much development right off the get-go. It's like, bam, he's already Daredevil. Like, it's not an origin story. It's like, bam, he's already Daredevil. Bam, she's already Jessica Jones. Bam, she's already powered. There's no lead up There's no origin story. It just goes straight into it. About the second or third episode, it's like, here's your villain.
Yeah.
Right? In Jessica Jones, even when we were watching that, we were so surprised. She has a confrontation with Kilgrave like 2 episodes in.
Yeah, yeah.
And we were like, bro, what the fuck
Yeah.
is happening? Like, this is amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
And it gives her the rest of the show. Like, you're sitting there, you're watching it, you're like, are they really like getting rid of the villain that quickly?
Yeah. Because
like,
about halfway through season 1 of Jessica Jones, like it feels. I think there's some sort of another confrontation between her and Kilgrave, and it feels like it's the climax of the whole show, and then suddenly, it's not, and then it continues on. Like,
it gives them something to work towards, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like her character then has to adapt and be like, oh, well, that didn't work. Guess we got to try something else.
She has to change her approach.
She has to change her approach, as opposed to just being like, oh, well, it's the last episode and there's no runtime left, so I guess whatever I do will work.
Yeah.
And I think that's not just the Marvel shows. That's not that's the Star Wars shows as well. I'm sure there's other Disney Plus mediums as well.
Yeah.
I think it's literally just anything on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it like in WandaVision? Because I think WandaVision definitely suffers from like the multiple villain aspect, where there's like, because you've got Hayward, who's introduced in episode 4.
Yeah.
And he's the best villain ever.
Unbelievable!
Hayward,
what a lad! What a lad! Taylor, welcome in.
If I didn't have his name sitting right here in front of me, I wouldn't have remembered his name.
Literally.
Yeah,
Literally.
He's just man in a suit.
You know who he reminds me of? I don't know if you've watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine up to the point where Teddy, Amy's boyfriend, like who's not Jake Peralta, but he's like he's supposed to be the most boring character ever, right? He's like he's supposed to be like the opposite to Jake. Like Jake is like fun, loving, and then like there's Teddy, and he's like, I love seltzers and like whatever.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be like the most like boring character ever. He's literally Hayward.
Yeah.
He's literally Hayward from WandaVision.
But
There is no difference.
But also like, I forget because like, is Hayward technically supposed to be perceived as a good guy at first? Like, is he another twist villain?
I think so.
Sort of.
I think
But then it's so obvious that.
Oh yeah,
that,
he's just like a guy in a suit.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like, he's the villain.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
So technically they don't, in WandaVision, they don't want to have a villain past episode 4, even when Hayward's introduced.
Yeah.
Which I will say, for a show like WandaVision, I think works, because especially in the first few episodes where, there isn't a villain. But I usually I always like the villain to be established quite early, and for the hero to have a confrontation with them immediately, or as soon as possible. Like we were talking about in Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and in Moonlight so far.
Yeah.
But in WandaVision, I think it works just because of the format at the beginning is so different to anything we've ever seen. It's like, about the sitcoms and stuff like that. And rather than a villain, appearing, it's more just like these like little, weird, unsettling changes to the world they're living in, and these like little elements of villainous things, like in Wanda and Vision's life, and like that are seeping in, and it's so much more of a mystery,
Yeah.
I think for WandaVision that works, not having a villain right away, but then it also doesn't work when episode 4 comes in. Episode 4 is when the whole episode is like the outside world. It's outside of Westview. It's in the real world. That's when Hayward's introduced, and like all the side characters, Jimmy Woo, Darcy, Monica Rambeau. Yeah. That whole episode is dedicated to that. And I think, you've said this before, you don't like where that episode is placed. You think it's too early. I think it is as well. I think a whole episode for that is too early. Like we could still get elements of it, but then you cut back to within Westview.
Like halfway through the season where Wanda like steps out of the hex that she's made. So she's in the hex, and then they send a drone into the hex.
Yeah.
And then she comes out with it, and she storms out, and she's like, leave me the fuck alone. Like, everybody get out of here.
Yeah.
That's the episode. That should have been at the end of like episode 6.
Yeah.
Nothing. You don't know, or episode 5. Like, you don't know what the fuck is happening. You know what is going on, and then there's a drone, and Wanda picks it up. She storms out, and then bam, aspect ratio shrinks.
Yep.
She's in the real world.
Yeah.
And then the next episode, like cut to black. Next episode, all the way back to the beginning of the show. bam, go from the outside world, different perspective.
Yes. Yeah.
But it needs to feel like it leads into it, where it doesn't.
Yeah.
How it is actually. You're not understanding Marvel shit, Vex. I'm telling you, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I completely agree. I think it's just at that episode 4, it just explains too much and just gets rid of all the mystery.
Yeah,
so
like
just,
episodes 1, 2,
too
and 3.
early on.
I know they weren't everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah.
A lot of people I've talked to have been like, "Well, I didn't really like the sitcom stuff. Like, I didn't."
Well, yeah, I didn't find it like laugh out loud funny
No.
or like even like a chuckle, but I was so impressed at like the creativity.
Absolutely.
Of it. Like, yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen the behind the scenes, but like they shot it in black and white, like on the actual cameras that they used back then, and they had to like. Vision was actually blue instead of red because blue came up better when converted to black and white as opposed to red. It's like all these like techniques that they actually used. They didn't do any CGI for the first 2 episodes. It was all like fishing wire and like hanging things from the ceiling and like that stuff is so cool.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
And like it was all filmed in front of a live studio audience as well.
Yeah,
like they filmed the whole thing live. Like that's so sick. That's for Marvel to do that and for Marvel to like greenlight that and be like, okay, we're gonna pay you $250 million or whatever the fuck it was to make this show.
Yeah.
It's so impressive. I'm really glad they did that.
Yeah.
But I don't know why, like episode 4, it just bam back into like normal Marvel.
Yeah. And it's shot like kind of just a bit basically and a bit generically and.
Yeah.
And like, like the lighting's all like cold and grey again, which I get is technically supposed to contrast to the colorfulness of Inside Westview because it's supposed to be like all fine and dandy, but it's it just feels like just so bland. Like as soon as you get into the outside world,
literally. And then like back to the villains.
Yeah.
I think it's also interesting how obviously there was multiple villains. There was Hayward, there was Agatha Harkness, there was White Vision.
Yeah.
And then I know Wanda was supposed to be a villain. And I know at the end of the show, she kind of like steps out. She's like, "Oh, like I was actually hurting these people the whole time. Like I'm so sorry. Like I didn't mean to hurt you all." But it's like, if she made the hex, and Wanda was in charge of everything that was happening in the sitcom reality, why? Like, how is she not aware that she was hurting these people? B, why does the show portray it as if she doesn't know what's happening and she's discovering this all for the first time?
Yeah.
Because even if she subconsciously made the hex, which is like the argument that I've seen go around, even if she subconsciously made the hex and you put that all together, it seems weird that they play her off to be like, that like the victim at first, and then she's kind of the villain, and then she's not really the villain, and she is. And
then that coupled with like the 3 other villains like the 3 other obvious villains it's too much I guess
and I don't know whether that was like supposed to be different and they due to the pandemic or whatever they had to cut it out because I know Doctor Strange was originally supposed to show up in it. He was supposed to have like a not just a cameo but like a role in the story, but it just like, especially the last 3 episodes of the season, just didn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
And I think, especially the last 2, where like the big final showdown happens, that's where it fell apart.
Yeah.
And if that didn't fall apart there, it would be just the best.
Yeah.
Disney Plus.
Because you've got so many cop outs in those last couple
not
things.
to mention like fucking Ralph Boner.
Yeah. Right.
Like they literally brought in the Quicksilver from the X-Men.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's happening.
Yeah.
The multiverse is happening. This is the multiverse saga. The multiverse is finally happening." And then the writers were like, "No, it's a boner joke." Like, what the fuck? Like, what a cop.
That is
unbelievable.
Ridiculous. And then White Vision as well, like for some reason I just like how they just go into a library. Him and Vision go into a library and just talk it out.
Yeah.
I kind of like that both ironically and unironically, but in realistically, he's also a cop out, because he's clearly supposed to be a villain and a threat. And
they set him up in the second last episode in the post-credit scene they were like, they had its eyes opening,
Yeah,
and he
but,
was like,
like-
oh, I'm scary, and I'm a villain, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, the ship of Theseus.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
expectation subversion, but it goes in the opposite way that you'd want it to.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. So it's a bit of a mess there, especially in the last few episodes of One.
Yeah.
Well, and then what do you think of Agatha Harkness? I mean, I think like she should be the main villain. She kind of is.
Yeah.
But like, just with all these other distractions, like all these other like Whittle, like Haywood and stuff, is just so dumb. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like like the focus should be about Agatha, and I like how she's technically been there from the beginning,
Yes.
but I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I also don't think she needs her own show. Like, she's like,
oh, is she
not-
getting a?
Yeah.
No way.
She doesn't need her own show. Like,
way.
that's so, like, not everything needs its own show. Stop just, like, throwing money at the wall and, like,
Yeah.
seeing if it sticks. Like, just literally, like, come up with an interesting story and, like, come up with an original idea. She doesn't need her own show.
Yeah.
I can't believe they're doing that. They literally, like, everyone loved, like, the who's been messing up everything.
Yeah.
It's been Agatha all along. And then they were like, money. That's all Disney does, throws money at existing IPs. Literally, Tom. Literally. Also, welcoming it. But yeah,
Facts.
exactly. But that's what we were saying. Like, Moon Knight is different. Like, we were saying that at the beginning of the episode. Like, Moon Knight is different. But, like, Agatha just does not need her own show.
No.
Yeah.
I guess we better move on to some of the other Disney Plus shows as well, because they also like show aspects of these problems with villains, right? I don't know how we probably won't go deep into Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's
Yeah.
because it also suffers from like kind of the multiple villains. You've got like Carly Morgenthau, who I thought was called Carly Montague before we started this podcast.
Yeah.
That's how much I don't remember.
Yeah.
From that show. You've got her and the Flag Smashers, but then which I guess are technically the villains. But then like she gets a lot more development as well.
Yeah.
And is supposed to technically be like, oh, which side am I on?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But then you've got John Walker as well, who's temporarily kind of the villain. You've got Baron Zemo in there, who like is like who you're constantly on edge because you're like, oh, like is he just suddenly going to become the villain?
Yeah.
It's just too complicated, like that's what I found with Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like it just suffers from that aspect again, just the kind of the multiple villain thing. I don't know whether I can be a bit more lenient with it for that show, because I don't know, like it's a very political show, and it's just kind of showing these different parties and these different groups and the different perspectives they have. Feel like that's like I can be a bit more lenient with that, but I don't know. Yeah, it's still a bit the same. And then
I just hated Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
yeah,
Just putting it out there. I thought
Same.
it was fucking garbage.
yeah, the most forgetful piece of media I think I've ever watched.
Yeah. Literally, half of the first episode is Sam, the Falcon, the least interesting Avenger, but still an Avenger, trying to get out a loan at a bank to fix a boat. Just putting it out there. That's an Avenger. That's an Avenger level storyline.
Yes.
apparently. He's taking out a loan at a bank to fix a boat. Yep. It's complex and a bit of a cop-out, as it allows them to make more smaller storylines that fit into a larger overarching story. Yes, I agree, Tom. People will watch anything at Marvel next. This is true. However, I am worried, I am concerned that they're not going to reference anything that happens in these shows in the rest of the MCU, right? I'm worried that, the big finale of Loki, where the multiverse splits apart and like Kang like dies and whatever, and Sylvie kills him and all that stuff, and it breaks the world. I'm worried that in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, which is coming out in like a month, they're going to be like, okay, great, the multiverse is broken, but you know who broke it? Doctor Strange in No Way Home.
Yeah.
And they're just never going to mention Loki
Oh
or
yeah,
Sylvie ever again.
I'm pretty confident that almost all of what happens at the end of Loki with Kang and everything splitting up and the timeline breaking and stuff like that will just be resolved within the Loki show, season 2.
Yes.
Or like, I mean, however many seasons that
Yeah.
they make. I don't know whether they plan to do more, but yeah, it's going to stay within Loki. Maybe well, I mean, obviously, yeah, you said Kang was confirmed for
Ant-Man 3.
Ant-Man. I guess that's a different variant, but like, yeah, I really don't think much is going to branch out of the actual show. Like, yeah, it's not going to have that much of an impact.
And like, that's what I don't like about it. And we yet to see that any of the Disney Plus shows pay off in that way.
Yeah.
None of them have had consequences within the MCU.
Yeah.
None of them. They might keep around the multiverse theory to try and string together all the Marvel shows, movies, try and make them more canon. Yeah, but if they don't mention Loki and Sylvie being the ones to break the multiverse, and instead they blame it on Doctor Strange or Spider-Man or whoever, then it's a cop-out. If Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness opens and it's like, oh, Loki and Sylvie come crashing through a portal, and like, there they are, and they're like, oh fuck, we broke the multiverse, then it'll be interesting. Then I'll be Loki. Then I'll be like, yep, Loki, you've got the green, got the green tick from me. I'm happy. Go ahead and do your thing.
Yeah, but I've actually wondered whether this timeline breaking the timeline stopping, I guess, like the end of time, which we see in the Loki finale, and the multiverse breaking in Doctor Strange are like different things. That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Because like, is this Loki thing? Because is this Loki thing the timeline ending at the end of time?
Yeah.
That's at the end of time, and like the timeline branching is that end at the end of time, whereas the stuff in Doctor Strange is present.
Yeah.
And so I don't know whether it's supposed to be different things or whether they are trying to imply that they're the same. Yeah.
I don't know. I know I've seen the theory that's like, in Loki, the time code of like the universe of the multiverse breaking lines up with when Wanda like does her like Darkhold shit in the end of WandaVision. I know like the time codes line up or whatever supposedly, but I don't know if that's a coincidence or not.
Yeah.
Like that very well, we haven't seen any proof to say that like that was intentional and they're all tied together. And in fact, all we've seen is just like nothing is happening, and in fact, like it's just not going to pay off. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess Loki also has Lurk, got to grind for that Radiant. Vex, good luck grinding for Radiant. I don't know how you do it. Bronze 2 hard stock, baby. Yeah, and I guess Loki also has the same issue with its villains that everything else has. Like, even though, like, at first the villain is like Sylvie, like she's the evil Loki
variant,
and then it's the TVA and the Timekeepers, and they're supposed to be like, these evil people and do whatever. And then they're a cop out as well.
Yes, and then it's Kang who's introduced in the final episode.
But then they kill Kang as well, and it's supposed to then be like another Kang, and it's like.
Yeah, well, which I guess because there's going to be season 2, like I don't mind Kang being introduced in the last episode because like he's not done with, I guess, like, and there's going to be more. But I mean, and another thing with Loki is that this constant changing of the villain, like whether it's the evil Loki variant and then the Timekeepers and then Kang, with Loki's character, he's constantly seeking to overrun the king or the leader or the top, whoever's at the top. So he might, and at first he thinks this evil Loki variant, like he wants to stop him because he wants to be the most powerful Loki.
Yep.
And then he's like, oh, the Timekeepers are running the TVA. I want to overrun the Timekeepers. And then, they're obviously a cop out. And then it's like, oh, who's behind all of it? So he's constant. So I think it almost works for a character like Loki, who's always motivated to be at the top. And so he'll just go from villain to villain, like seeking.
Yeah. But then I'm also like, there's also filler in Loki. I know a lot of people like this, and this might be a controversial opinion. Also, got to do some uni work. Enjoy the podcast. No worries, Tom. Thank you for, I don't know what camera I'm on. Thank you for joining in, Tom. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Enjoy your uni work. I know, and a lot of people like this. This might be a controversial opinion, but I hate the episode where Loki and Sylvia are on the train.
Yep. Okay, it's controversial because I like that episode.
I can't stand
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It just feels like Hawkeye filler to me. It just feels like, oh, the writer's like, oh, they got to get from A to B, and it's like a 10-hour train ride, and instead of cutting it out, I guess we'll just condense it down into an hour-long episode. Like, that just feels like it doesn't progress the plot.
I get
in
your
any way.
I get your point. Like it's from an outside perspective, it's one of those episodes,
Yeah.
right? It's an episode where they're like, yeah, the plot isn't progressing that much.
They're not
but
moving towards a goal.
no,
Yeah.
but I feel like it's the one episode where you get to learn so much about these characters. I don't know, and like they just give it one episode's time to develop these characters, and their relationship.
Yeah,
and
but,
then in the next episode.
but you forget that we're supposed to know Loki's character, right? This is Loki from the 2012 Avengers, who was blowing up New York City, who was like taking over the world, and he was like, I've got the Tesseract, and I'm gonna like kill everyone, and they compared him to Hitler in Germany. Like, this is like evil Loki, like at his worst. Like, he's supposed to be god of mischief, like absolutely unredeemable, and he only gets redeemable in the MCU through time, and like especially after after Frigga dies in the Dark World, his mum, after not Thor dies, after like he and Thor bond in Ragnarok, and then after his death in Infinity War, that's when he is really redeemed. Whereas in Loki, they just pick him up out of the timeline right after 2012 Avengers.
When he
pick
was
him up
still
when he
evil,
was still
right?
evil.
Yeah.
They plop him down in a different environment, and they're like, "Oh, and now you're good. And now we're gonna have a 45-minute episode where you get to show your goodness."
Yeah.
And I just hate that. I think that just like is such a cop out of the character of Loki. I think it's really just tweaked to be like, to fit the intentions of the show. Like, it doesn't make sense for his character. They were just like, oh well, we need him to be the protagonist, so I guess we're just gonna have to do this, and now he's the protagonist. And I feel like that episode is supposed to ease that transition.
Yeah.
But to me, it just kind of made it feel more obvious.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah,
Fair enough. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it has the same issue with that episode as Hawkeye does with a lot of the episodes.
I think Hawkeye's just a lot worse at that.
Yeah.
But,
Oh,
like,
for sure.
yeah.
For sure. Hi, Zali. Welcome. I don't know what camera I'm on. What camera am I on? Hi, Zali. And now we're here. Hello. Like, lecture over. And now we're here. What was your lecture on? We're going all around the room. Little room tour. And I guess we've talked about Hawkeye already.
Yes.
Yeah. But if everyone go watch Daredevil. If you're here,
that's the moral of episode 1 of this podcast.
yes,
And probably the moral
every episode. We're gonna come back to this.
to Daredevil
at
every
the
time.
end of every podcast episode. We're gonna be like, right, go watch Daredevil.
yeah.
If you want to see the best television ever created, go watch Daredevil. You will not regret it. Yeah, I guess like we said already, in Hawkeye, a lot of the season is them just walking around the city and like doing nothing. And Infinity War or Endgame. I think I'm an Infinity War guy.
Infinity War for
Infinity
sure.
War.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danzig, you agree?
Danzig agrees.
Infinity War, but Endgame was more like a more important moment, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, Endgame I think was better in theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Endgame-
it was like an experience. It wasn't just a movie. It was
It was like Spider-Man No Way
it was
Home.
like Spider-Man No Way Home. It's like a proper experience.
Yeah, I know. Like when we were watching Spider-Man No Way Home, me and Mitch,
I was there.
you were there.
I was in theater.
Oh yeah.
That's right. We watched Spider-Man No Way Home in theaters, and bro, everyone lost their shit. It
Yeah.
sounded like a fucking stadium.
Yeah.
I see the second time to catch some more dialogue.
Yeah. when Matt Murdock showed up, like Daredevil showed up, everyone was like, God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unbelievable! Like, what an experience, and that was Endgame. For me.
Same for
Like,
Endgame.
Yeah.
Except Endgame was like less fun, so like
Yeah,
it was a bit more just like
yeah, it was like audible
What?
gasps. Yeah. But I think Infinity War is ultimately the better
Yeah, that is an amazing
Yeah.
just movie.
The fact. You okay, Danzig?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just tapping it.
Get rid of something that accidentally came up.
Nice. Yeah, I guess like the fact that they end Infinity War with like everyone dying, it's just like incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen the I think it's Mark Ruffalo spoiling it. There's a clip of Mark Ruffalo in an interview, and it's for Age of Ultron, and everyone's like, oh, like, you know, how do you feel about Quicksilver dying? And he's like, wait till you see the next one. Everyone dies in that one.
Oh.
and then he like looks at himself and he's like, oh my fucking god, like I did not just say that. Yeah. Yeah. There's like an actual clip of Mark Ruffalo like spoiling Endgame. It's so
Oh,
funny.
he could have, like, after saying that, he could have played it off because like
Yeah.
But if he looked guilty after
Yeah.
it, Jesus.
Favorite OG Avenger? Iron Man for sure. I know it's kind of like a basic
I don't even
choice.
know.
It's kind of a basic choice, but I love just like
Yeah.
Avengers 1, Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, like really snarky dickhead Iron Man is like
Yeah.
my favorite because they literally just like they got Tony Stark and they just they got Robert Downey Jr. and they put him on stage and they were like, be free. And then he just like made on him. Yuck, what the fuck do you mean yuck? What the fuck do you mean yuck? Bleh. Who's yours? Bet it's gonna be like fucking Black Widow or something. Hawkeye. Watch, it's gonna be Hawkeye.
Hawkeye's cool though, right? He'd be one of the. I'm trying to think who it would be for me. I never had. Of the original Avengers though, I never had like my favorite. I just.
Mine was always Thor. I liked it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but Thor before Ragnarok was kind of a
Yeah.
boring character.
yeah.
Captain
little bit.
Shut the fuck- Captain America's your favorite OG Avenger. He's so boring.
He's literally vanilla.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
You hate Hawkeye? Okay. But Captain America is so boring. How do you hate Hawkeye but like Captain America? Captain America is just like, I am good, and that is my personality.
I would say Ronan Hawkeye, phenomenal.
Yeah, but we didn't see enough of him.
Yeah,
Because it keeps us like wanting more.
yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like we should have. You're boring. Shut the fuck up, Sully.
Let's just say it's there first.
Shut up. You're wrong. Captain America's so boring. Captain America Winter Soldier is the best Marvel movie.
No.
Bring up the tier list.
What?
Bring up the tier list.
That's for another day. We're not.
American Winter Soldier is the best movie. I consider that a film. You know, there's a difference between a film and a movie.
But I think Guardians of the
Really?
Galaxy is better.
I like as a Marvel movie, yes. As a film, no. Captain America.
No. Yelling at a viewer is so rude. Zali, I don't know why you're even here. I don't even know why you're here, bro. I'm joking. Yeah. We will do a tier list episode.
We will.
We
Yeah.
we should do a tier list episode. I know we've already done it, but we'll like explain our
Yes,
thoughts
yeah,
behind every movie.
Absolutely.
Most entertaining movie, most entertaining, best build up. Wait, are you talking about Captain Winter Soldier? Best build up, best fight scenes. The fight scene on the bridge is pretty good.
Yes. Yeah.
The
really.
fight scene, like, y'all are so wrong. I mean, Bucky on the bridge is pretty cool. I like Nick Fury in the car.
In the car, yeah.
That's a really good scene.
But I'm just not a big fan of the third act.
Yeah,
the
well,
final
obviously
act.
it's like the most boring thing ever.
Yeah.
It's like Captain America Winter Soldier for me is like is literally Captain America Winter Soldier for me is Wonder Woman 1. I love Wonder Woman 1. I think the
Right,
first
yeah,
Wonder
okay.
Woman is such a fucking incredible movie, except for the third act.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman sucks ass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. If they kept Wonder Woman, like, okay, the moral of the story is everyone's bad and there is no Ares and humans are unredeemable. That would have been incredible.
Amazing,
Except they were like, haha, now big CGI monster.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's literally just the end of it's the third act of Winter Soldier. They're like the big fucking hella character.
Yeah.
Also, Zali, bring the guy in the background in.
Danzig, come say hello. Come say hello.
Yeah.
One of the professional stuff. Hey Ray. Hey Daddy, how's it going?
this first episode, it'll go down in history. Here's,
We got Danzig. We got Danzig in
The
here.
camera switching.
Danzig on the cameras. Danzig on the cameras. Ray, how's it going? Yeah, okay, a little bit of a tangent.
Yeah.
But okay, I need to keep talking about this. Wonder Woman 1, the fact that it's like a fish out of water movie, and she's like this random, this random, like girl who's never seen like the normal world before, and who's, you know,
yeah. She's like an alien.
Yeah, she's like an alien.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
comes into like is it New York or is it London? I think it's London.
Yeah,
It's London.
sure.
She like comes into London and she's like, "What the fuck is happening? Like, what the fuck's going on?" It's so fun.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
so fun.
it's
And
so
the scene in the
fun.
middle of the movie where they're in no man's land, and like there's the war on both sides, and she like runs into the middle, and she's
It's
being
like-
shot
it's
from
like
every
iconic,
angle.
like,
it's
it's-
amazing.
yeah.
And like all the war stuff
An
is
iconic
so
moment,
cool.
yeah.
Just keep it like that, and you have yourself a banging movie.
Yeah.
Don't add Ares into the third act. Little rant. But
Because they already have the resolution of the film and the moral of the story set
Exactly.
up, and then they just change it.
Exactly.
They're like, "Oh, never mind. People aren't bad. There's just one big bad guy."
yeah. Best fight, Shang-Chi's fight in the bus. Vernon, first of all, welcome to the stream.
yeah,
It was
choreography
good.
maybe, but
Choreography was good.
I felt like it
Yeah,
like
I
it.
didn't hate the phrase. It's awesome.
I feel like in the cinemas, the fight scenes, like I quite in Shang-Chi, I like did it justice, and I quite enjoyed it. But
Yeah.
like if I'm just like looking back at it, like where I'm like not like it's not like surround sound, and I'm not really like fully focused on it. I'm,
Yeah,
like,
I really like the first scene between his dad and his mom. Where
Yeah,
they
that's
first meet
awesome.
in the forest.
Yeah,
And and he's like got all like the kung fu,
Yeah, yeah.
and she's got like
She's
this,
all, like, wavy.
sweeping,
Yeah.
like, that stuff's so cool. That
Yeah.
was beautiful.
Mm.
That was beautiful, bro. He's the real G. The tech props to you, right? Danzig, what a legend.
Yeah.
Favorite Spider-Man? Wait, Spider-Man or Spider-Man movie?
Yeah.
Because they're like favorite Spider-Man or favorite Spider-Man movies, because they're very different questions. You're in Valo, nice, Ray, nice. I'm gonna join you after this. I haven't played Valo in so long. I heard Yoru as I was typing that and spammed my keyboard. Favorite Spider-Man? Okay, so not Spider-Man movie.
Okay.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Andrew
Andrew
Garfield.
Garfield.
Yeah, I think so.
Question mark? Yeah, I think so.
I think so. I think Tom Holland is the best. Tom Holland is the best Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Surely.
I think
Toby.
Peter.
No.
Andrew's the best Spider-Man. I think Tom is a great balance.
Yeah. That's
I don't like Toby.
He's so
But I
funny.
didn't, but I didn't grow
awkward
up
and
with
charming,
him.
Yeah.
But I didn't grow up with him. He's the second best. Wait, who is? Toby's the second best.
I grew up with Toby.
See, I didn't. I only watched like the first Spider-Man. Miles is the best. True. Into the Spider-Verse is good. And if you asked me,
okay.
if you asked me what my favorite Spider-Man movie was, I would say Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
without a doubt,
Yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man movie, hands down.
Oh, yeah.
There is no contest. There is no competition.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is like top 3 movies
Yeah.
of all time.
Yeah.
You agree from Tech. Miles is best, then Andrew, then Toby. Then Tom, then Toby. I don't like Toby. I don't like Toby because I didn't grow up with him. Like Toby just doesn't have any like nostalgia for me.
Yeah, okay.
You
Fair
know?
enough. Yeah.
Like without the nostalgia, if you take the nostalgia away from the original Spider-Man trilogy, what do you get? Fucking garbage.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I think Andrew is Andrew has like the suave. Andrew is suave. Andrew is
He just
he's awkward, but he's like cool a little bit at the same time.
but
as well.
to be fair, he needed to lose the New Yorker accent in the second movie. Like,
yeah. Well, the second movie is kind of garbage
Yeah.
anyway, but the first movie is so good. And then I think it's Tom for me. and then probably Miles, and then Toby. The originals are so shit without the nostalgia. Exactly. The originals are so shit without the nostalgia.
I will say that.
That's the only right thing you've said. Shut up, Zali.
The art where Spider-Man loses his powers, I would love to see that nowadays.
Yeah, that's true. Also, Kenji. No, we are live. Hello, Kenji. How are you?
Good camera.
Joshi looks so different. I know. I've got a proper camera, not a webcam. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's it for me. Andrew, Tom, Miles, Toby.
I don't know. I can't even rank them because I just kind of like them all. I don't think any of them have done a bad job. Like
I like all the Spider-Man movies apart from Far From Home because I think Far From Home is a shithouse movie. You like Far From Home? I thought Far From Home was a good movie, but a fucking god-awful Spider-Man
Yeah,
movie.
terrible Spider-Man.
He doesn't
movie.
swing from anything. He doesn't swing from buildings. He doesn't.
He's far from home. It's not the neighborhood, man.
It was too early for that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But like Homecoming sets him up. Like Homecoming is the origin story, right? Like origins. He's already Spider-Man when we start the movie, but he's it's the origin story. And then you'd expect the second movie to be him like improving on his powers, swinging through New York, like being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And then they just take him away, and they're like, "No, go to."
Well, and also he doesn't even want to be Spider-Man in
Yeah.
the second movie.
Yeah.
He's like, which is like kind of just like falls flat. It's like,
Yeah.
like I respect like us seeing a bit more of Peter Parker's side, but like then at the same time, it's
Yeah.
just like, no, I just want to see Spider-Man.
Yeah. You want to see these movie ranks? Okay, we'll do it. Shall we do a brief like sneak preview
Of what?
of our tier list?
Really?
Do a
Tier list?
Yeah, do a sneak preview, and then we'll reintroduce like next week or something.
Okay.
Female lead movie.
Wait, Zali, in terms of Marvel or of all time?
I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Marvel.
Probably. Do you have it? Oh, you do.
Yeah, well, definitely fucking Black.
Yeah. Fuck Black Widow, bro. Worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, worst
Favorite movie with men that cares? Eternals, Kenji. Just for you? Okay, right. Okay, can you see?
Is it on this?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Quick sneak peek.
Quick sneak peek.
Yeah, here it is.
There you go. What's the first female-led movie? There's not many of them. I guess WandaVision is kind of female-led.
Yeah.
That'd probably be my like first on there. I like you're so disgusted. What do you mean you're disgusted? What would you do differently? I really like Iron Man 3. I hit typing.
I think that.
Thor, yeah.
Oh, we'll delve into that.
Thor
on
was
another
fire.
episode.
Why is it D?
But,
Thor was like fine.
it's pretty.
Thor.
No,
why
that
is-
was
why is
Dark
Winter Soldier
World.
not S tier? Charlie, because it's boring.
Which
because
one?
it's boring.
Which one?
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier. No. It's...
Can you send me yours? Zal, you're gonna have to tune in next week. You're gonna get special treatment. Oh. Little Kenji loved it. Little Kenji loved the Thor 1. Not you, Joshi Tech. What the fuck? Danzig's just gonna take over my stream, bro. Thanks for the stretch, Kenji. You have a stretch, Mitchell. Just stretch.
Oh, yeah.
What did you guys think of Eternals? I didn't see it. Where was it?
It was about the middle. It's about
Yeah.
like B tier. I think we put it. I think Eternals was smack bang in the middle. To be honest,
I
It's
think
like a-
so.
Yeah.
5 ads? You got 5 ads? Oh
What?
my god.
Oh, Moonlight was in there before.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. You got 2 ads, AEO. Bleh. Yucky. Sorry. 5 ads? No! Just sub, and then you won't have ads. If you give me money, you won't have ads. Huge brain. Ray? Ayo. You got a GTA San Andreas ad? Nice. Yeah, Eternals. I really didn't like Eternals on the first watch through. I know were you there? You were there. Really? We went to see it in the city.
Oh,
What the fuck
Really?
were you doing?
yeah, he wasn't there.
I was on shoot.
Yeah,
Oh.
probably.
Oh,
Mm.
right. Well, okay. When we saw it the first time, I was kind of drunk. And then I was like just pointing out every plot hole, and I was like, "Well, this is fucking full of plot holes. This is garbage." And I watched it again like the second time, and I kind of appreciated it the second time. I was like, "Okay, this."
Yeah,
is
I thought it was pretty decent
Yeah.
from the start. To be
Yeah.
honest, I quite enjoyed it the
Yeah.
first time watching.
I appreciated that Marvel was trying to do something different, and they were trying to like appeal to a different crowd that wasn't just kids. Like Eternals, it wasn't just aimed at kids. It wasn't just aimed at like the families. It was aimed. It was more poised to be a proper movie,
Yeah.
and I like a film exactly.
yeah.
And that's what I really appreciated about it. You're watching someone shower on FaceTime right now. Sorry. Kenji, you're watching Danzig? You're watching Danzig right now, bro? Danzig's trying to shower. I need him to come back and change my cameras. And I really like that about Eternals. Well, yeah, I mean that's both of these pieces of paper.
Yeah, that's
Pieces of paper done for the night. That's them. That's them done.
That's all we had planned.
So that's all we had planned. So if anyone else has any questions,
Yeah.
before we wrap up the stream, please,
Go for it.
by all means. Really, only tore it once.
Go for it. No, do it.
Thoughts on Iron Man getting shit on by.
I mean, that's fair enough. He's just a guy. Thanos is like a god.
Yeah.
Yeah. When he gets stabbed,
Oh,
that was like, there's two sides of it. One that was awesome, and in theaters, I was like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is happening? But then like, why would they like pretend to kill him and then kill him like for real in the next movie?
Wait, which one? You mean the end of Infinity War when
he
Thanos gets stabbed?
No, when
Yeah.
Iron Man gets stabbed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was yeah.
Yeah. You'd kill Iron Man. Oh wait, he's already dead.
Oh,
Shut the fuck up, Zali.
that fight scene on is it on Titan?
Yeah.
Like I swear it's the best fight scene almost ever in the MCU.
Yeah.
I'm ready to call it that. That is just amazing.
Yeah, it's
like
pretty
all
good.
those Avengers and like teaming up and like
Yeah.
the Guardians of the Galaxies with Iron Man and Spider-Man and
Yeah.
and all that. It's just-
Okay.
and Doctor Strange.
True.
And like they're all just
True.
like wrapping
I like the
around
Doctor
Thanos and
Strange
they're all
like
capturing him.
CGI and like the multiple
Yes.
people coming
It is
out. I like
so
it. Really
cool.
cool.
makes sense when some
Yeah.
ruins it.
Yeah. Well, except I'm really still hate Star Wars for doing
Yeah.
that. It's like I actually hate him for it, which
Yeah.
is perfect.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
filmmaking
well done,
because that's
yeah.
what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. Okay. We've got a Hamill rap redeemed by Stop Zali, which is I rap a Hamilton song. So I'll do that in a second.
Yep.
We're just catching up on chat. Have you seen the new show on Disney Plus? Ray, did you miss like the first hour of the stream where all we talked about? Switch it to this angle. I don't know if you can see this, but this is all Moon Knight here, buddy. This is all Moon Knight here. Join in earlier next time.
7:30.
Yeah, excited for the second Spider-Man. For the second Spider-Man. I am Jacko. I am. But I also half wish that they kept it to one movie.
Yeah.
It
Same.
didn't need to be more than one
No.
movie. Also, hide actually.
But obviously,
Do it now before you
money,
stream. Fine.
I'm actually.
Yeah, but I just hope
I'm
they don't
okay
ruin.
with
Like,
it.
well, like I don't think they'll ruin it. But like, even if it's like subpar, well, like or like par, like I need it to be like the best film ever made. I need it to top the first one, and I don't know how
it
that's
just
going to be
doesn't.
possible.
It doesn't need to be.
No,
I really love how they're adding in Spider-Man. We just don't see it often, like 20.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
It just it opens up so much. Right?
yeah, it's true.
True. Okay.
you-
How am I gonna do this?
Getting a rap.
What's this rap?
Oh, this is from Hamilton.
Oh, right.
From Hamilton. Okay, hold on.
Just on camera 3, by the way. What do you want to watch?
Oh, you need to bring up the fuck. Hold on. I need to bring up the music on here. It's gonna start the music playing on there, but whatever. I'll fix it later.
Oh, yeah.
Little performance to end
Yeah,
up
yeah.
end up the episode. Okay.
What?
How does a ragtag volunteer army in need of a shower somehow defeat a global superpower? How do we emerge victorious from the quagmire, leave the battlefield waving Betsy Ross's flag higher? Yo, turns out we have a secret weapon, an immigrant you know and love who's unafraid to step in. He's constantly confusing, confounding the British henchman. Everyone give it up for America's favorite fighting Frenchman! I'm taking his horse by the reins, making red coats wet with the blood stains. And I'm never gonna stop, I'm dropping the scatter the remains. I'm left by, yeah. Watch me engage and I'm escaping, I'm enraged till I'm out. I go to France for more funds. I come back with more guns and ships. And so the balance shifts. We rendezvous with Rochambeau, consolidate their gifts. We can end this war in Yorktown, cut them off at sea. But for this to succeed, there is someone else we need. So he knows what to do when the trench, you do when the fluent in French, I mean. So you're gonna have to use eventually. What's he gonna do on the bench, I mean? No one has more resilience or matches my practical, tactical brilliance. You wanna fight for your land back? I need your right hand man back. Get your right hand man back. You're gonna get your right hand man back. Oh, I can't do that part. The VDs, it's too fast. Alexander Hamilton. Troops are waiting in the field for you. If you join us right now, together we can turn the tide. Oh, Alexander Hamilton. I have soldiers that will yield for you. If we manage to get this right, they'll surrender by early light. The world will never be the same, Alexander.
Okay, I have to say a few things.
That one's for you. Yeah.
One, that logo, you know your logo you made?
Yeah.
Perfectly as you like finish off your
Oh,
cake.
nice. Nice.
Two, I cut to Mitch at the perfect time, you sweat. And three, that was awesome.
Thank
yeah,
you.
well done,
Thank
well
you.
done.
You're gonna teach me the best part? Yes, please do. Please do. Joshi, can I kiss you? Abby, come here. Come here. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna bring the music back up. Joshi's Mac Mini. Let's connect that back up. Let's get the stream beats lo-fi going again. There we go. You're out now. Have fun. Thank you, Zali. Enjoy your stream. Thank you for being here. I guess that's us kind of done as well.
Yeah, probably.
First episode. Unless anyone has any more questions. Any last questions before we head off? Fuck you guys. Anyone have any last questions? Also, Andrew, welcome in. How are you? You missed it all. I'm so sorry. There will be a VOD. There will be a VOD, and it will be on
Check the
Spotify,
VOD.
and it will be on YouTube. So there will be more opportunities to watch, to do the whole episode again. But let me just reassemble all of these torn up paper pieces. I'm sure
yeah.
it's like a puzzle, right? We'll just. Joshi, I love you. Will you marry me? Sure. Add me. I want to talk Marvel tech. Zali, I'll add you to the Marvel group. You should be in the Marvel group. You appreciate that? Yeah. Okay. This piece goes there. This piece. Sorry, Andrew. We'll just do it next time. We'll do it next time. Next episode. Next week. Join us again. Very dramatic. Why aren't I in the Marvel group? True. Andrew, you better be in the Marvel group as well. You will destroy you guys with my right choices. Fuck you. All right. If no one else has any questions, I guess
Yeah,
we will rate
that's
out.
a wrap for episode 1.
Yeah, look at that. An hour and 48 minutes. Not bad.
Nice.
Who should we raid? Who should we raid? Good night, good night, good night. Good chat. Thank you. Who's alive? We've got Mitch with 1L.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Rodent. We should raid Rodent. Yeah, I'd be down to raid Rodent. Next Marvel trivia when? I want Marvel trivia so badly. I really want Marvel trivia. Yeah, I look up Marvel trivia on Facebook. I look up Marvel trivia on Facebook like so often, and then it's just like never. There's never.
We've won everyone so far.
What?
We've won everyone.
Yeah.
Oh,
We've been to 2 and we've won 2. Oh yeah, we did go to 3.
What?
We've been to
Did
3.
No.
No, we weren't. We're gonna go to
we
the third one, and then everyone pulled out.
Yeah. We're 2 from 2.
We're 2 for 2.
100%
Yeah.
success rate,
Yeah.
win rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna raid row. Everyone, hold on. If I grab this and I write raid 1, grab that raid message, or also if you're subbed, you can grab that one. grab those raid messages. We're gonna raid Rodent. Thank you all for being here for the first.
We on that one?
Yeah, we are.
All right.
Thank you all for being here for the first episode of the podcast. This was a lot of fun. I think we should do this next week.
Absolutely.
Danzig, you around next week?
Yeah.
Danzig around next week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Nice. Give Rodent some love. Thank you all for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching and listening if you listen to this after.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, and I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah.
And if you would like this on Spotify, let me know and I will put it on there. Let's do this raid command here.
It's good. It's just Vernon. Follow.
Oh, thank you for the follow.
Hey, yo.
It's just Vernon. I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. I hope we'll catch you in the next stream. Grab one of the raid messages and we will be out. Catch you all later. We're gonna switch to the ending screen now, and Danzig will cut the microphone. And that's not just me telling him what to do. He's just gonna do it. All right, everyone. Good night.
See you later.
See you.